I've got some tips to help you dominate your Yahoo Fantasy Basketball leagues. Coming up next on Beat the Odds Card Breaks. Don't go anywhere. Hello friends, and welcome back to another episode of Beat the Odds Card Breaks. We are going to dive into a 2022-23 Yahoo Fantasy Basketball head-to-head snake draft. And we're going to kind of go over some tips and tricks on how to be able to succeed in your fantasy basketball league. If you're a fan of this type of content, please feel free to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel, as we will be doing fantasy basketball episodes on a regular basis here throughout the season. Now, let's dive right into the draft here. We've got a few minutes remaining here. Actually, that's it's about 3 minutes left to go before we start. We were lucky to get the third spot. Third spot's great if you're trying to aim for one of the top guys to get off the board. But it isn't so great because it's going to take a little while for you to be able to pick your second pick here. We're going to kind of hide that here, but there are a few things to keep in mind when you're doing a snake draft. The first thing that I like to do is take a look at the depth charts, and there's a great website you can go to on ESPN that goes over all the depth charts. You want to make sure to click on full so that way you can see the entire lineup, and when you're going through this here, you should get a good idea as to where these players will slot in for their teams, and you can kind of guess to the extent of minutes that they might get here. So there are a few names on this list that we're going to be kind of targeting throughout the draft. And the other thing that I like to do is actually set up a queue for players in the draft. And what I do for that here is I click on ADP, and it's going to list the average draft position for each of the players in the draft. And then when we go down the list, I typically will start roughly around pick 50. I'll start to go through players that I think I would want to target in the second half of the draft, and just put those into the queue spot. This will be important for sure in a little bit once we get towards pick 5 or pick 6 here for the draft. So there's a few players on this list, of course. Once we get kind of halfway through, Tyrese Maxey, I think, is a good one to target. Paolo Banchero, he's going to get a big share of minutes and stuff here in Orlando on a team that's going to be struggling probably for the majority of the year. I think he's going to actually set up quite well. Kind of like Cade Cunningham last year. I see that for Paolo Banchero, of course, in a power forward position, so he's going to get the counting stats for rebounds and steals and blocks more than he will for assists. Jordan Poole will likely have an expanded role in Golden State this year. Tyler Hero is set to have a really big role here for Miami. So these are players that I like to target there. One note as well, you'll notice that there are some injured players, of course, that aren't scheduled to start the year or might still be injured to this point here and they haven't been cleared. I don't mind going after some of these players, especially as we reach the second half of the draft, because the whole goal with head-to-head is just to get yourself into the top 6 brackets. And you can pretty much achieve this if you are good at following your team throughout the year. So you don't have to worry so much about the players that you're using so much, especially at the start. As long as they're available towards the end, then you can use their abilities to be able to get the stats that you want to be able to collect towards the back half of the season. So guys like Michael Porter, Jaren Jackson, Jamal Murray, Lonzo Ball, Ben Simmons, these guys I'm not shy from picking them up here during the draft. But the draft is now started. We are third pick, so we're going to try to see if we can get our hands on one of the top 2. If we can't, it's certainly not a loss. I'm very happy to choose Giannis or Joel Embiid in this spot. I think to start, I'm leaning a little bit more towards Embiid. Just the percentages are a little bit better there, especially for free throw. Although Giannis, of course, is a very tantalizing player. Very difficult to kind of know which way you want to go. Jokic is first off the board. Giannis is second off the board. That also gives me the ability to pick up Kevin Durant in this position, and that is really tempting. But definitely between Durant and Embiid for me. I'm thinking I might end up going with... I think I'm going to go with Embiid. The only reason why I'm choosing Embiid in this spot is really age. I mean, they both have injury history. Although Embiid's a couple years removed, Durant is a couple years removed as well, but he's got a few years on Embiid still. So I feel Embiid's a bit of a safer pick here for my number 3 shot. We'll see if I'm right throughout the year. But it also fills a need there for a center, which I find can be a little trickier to get quality centers, midway through the break. So picking one up now is not necessarily a bad thing to do. So the first third of the draft, so the first 5 picks or so, 4 or 5 picks, I like to try to choose the best player available. It was difficult for me to choose between Embiid and Durant for that pick, but I feel Embiid is the right way to go. You guys, you could put an argument. You can put up an argument that Durant should have been the second pick off the board. Feel free to say what you would have done in that situation down in the comments below. I'll be interested to see what you guys think. But as it goes there, I feel pretty good with Embiid in that spot. But as we round back up to my pick, we're going to be taking a look to see what spots that we can fill with the best players available. All right, so coming back up here to our second pick, and there is an obvious winner here for that. Ja Morant. Shocked that he went this late here at pick 22. That, I believe, is an early round steal, and it's always nice to actually get one of those here once in a while. Morant's definitely joining the team. That's going to round... that has the potential to round out the team. The first 5 picks here are quite nice. Now we've got a bona fide center and a bona fide point guard. All right, with my next pick here, I think we're going to go Anthony Edwards here. He is on the verge of stardom and is looking pretty good in camp. I would have a hard time passing up on him and watching him do phenomenal things this year. So we're going to go Anthony Edwards here with pick number 3. All right, so this presents a very interesting choice here for me with my 4th pick. Zion Williamson is on the board, and he's the top average draft position. And if he's healthy, like everybody says he is, he is going to provide an insane amount of points and field goal percentage help there for the team, and he's going to be able to rebound there as well. And quite frankly, as I go down the list, besides maybe CJ McCollum, I don't see anybody else out there that might have the same type of impact as a Zion if he's healthy. So we're going to take a bit of a risk here, and we're going to go ahead and draft Zion Williamson here with pick 4. All right, circling back here to pick number 5. Another tricky position because JV's my guy. For those who know me here on the channel, JV is my favorite basketball player, has been since he came into the league here with the Raptors, and I love his game. He's a big, can shoot the 3. The only problem I have with JV this year is the pick that I did before. If Zion plays and he's healthy, that pushes Jonas to the 4th option on that team, and I don't think he's going to be a good source of points on that squad. So I'd rather pick up CJ or De'Aaron Fox. And I think between the two, Fox has the better shot at getting more counting stats with more minutes. He's going to have more of the share of the offense in Sacramento. So we're going to go ahead and pick up De'Aaron Fox with my next pick. All right, so now that we are at the past the first initial 5 teams, what I like to do now is to try to fill positions of need. So specifically, I'm going to need another center, and likely another small forward. So I should be looking at those guys here, but it's very difficult to ignore the fact that Julius Randle is still on the board here. Average draft position at 57 going, and we're currently in the 70th overall. The only thing I don't like about picking him up is, of course, he is a turnover drag, and he's a drag on percentages there as well. But right behind him there is Tobias Harris, which I feel is a safer spot here. Plus, he gives me the small forward designation. We're going to pick up Tobias Harris for the squad. Okay, so back with my 7th pick, and Julius Randle is still out there, so... But there's also Jamal Murray. Now, of course, Jamal Murray carries the injury tag, but I believe, looking at my team, we've got 2 point guards already. We're pretty strong there. We definitely need a center, but I'm not a huge fan of Draymond Green's game, and Jaren Jackson Jr. is injured. So I'm going to wait, I believe, until the next pick here to pick up a center. Hopefully there'll still be some available. But I like Jamal Murray here. I'm going to try to stay away from Randle. I've got some big scorers already on this squad. I don't really need another one. I think it's just going to... It's going to already improve on the areas that I'm good at and suck out on the areas that I don't. So we're going to go ahead and pick up Jamal Murray. Hopefully I made the right choice there. There goes Randle. Alright, we are picking next here, and we're in an interesting predicament. We're still very short on centers. And there was a huge run on centers here in the last, well, between picks. There must have been 7 or 8 centers that came off the board. And times like this, you want to feel pressure to pick a center, and I would completely understand doing so, but choosing Jaren Jackson Jr. here, I'm going to hope I can get him on my next one here. I don't know if I want to pick him up right away. My pickup is either going to be between Ben Simmons and RJ Barrett, and as I look at that there, Ben Simmons is going to be playing at the 4, but RJ Barrett, I believe, is going to have more of a responsibility this year, so I think I'm going to go RJ Barrett here. Alright, with Ben Simmons off the board, I think this is a good time to pick up Jaren Jackson Jr. Now, he's going to be out for the first half of the season. Probably in towards the All-Star break, we should expect to see him come back in if he does come back this year. I'm hoping at this point here, I'm taking a bit of a risk to pick him up here to hope that he makes it back for the second half, and if he does, then I'll feel very comfortable with my center tandem between him and Joel Embiid. All right, we got the next turn up here. Again, a bit of a tricky spot. We still are going to need to get a center on the squad here because Triple J is not going to be starting the year, of course. So we got to target that. I see Nicholas Claxton down. I queued him up here. Hopefully that we'll be able to get him. I don't know if I want to get him now. I think I'm leaning more towards getting him on the second half. In the second, or my next pick, my next round. I think right now what I want to do is try to find somebody I think that would fit the position, or a needed position. So as it stands right now, point guards I'm good. Shooting guards I'm light. So I'd like to see if there's a shooting guard out here that might do the trick, and there's not really a whole lot. There's Jordan Clarkson, but he's likely going to get traded. Bogdan Bogdanovic, I mean, he's an interesting one here. He may also get traded. You know, we may just end up having to pick up Nicholas Claxton here, but I don't know if that's what we're going to do. Let's just take a look to see what else there is. Jalen Suggs I can target a little bit later to try and get him on the cheap. Kyle Lowry is also out there. I mean, it's kind of hard to pass him up. At this stage of the draft here, I think Kyle Lowry might be the safest bet. All right, so my next pick here, I do see Nicholas Claxton still on the board. I think this is a good spot to draft him, so we are going to pick him up. And that's going to solve at least the center crisis for the time being. And we are down to our last 2 picks. At this stage of the draft, it's really about trying to round out your counting stats. So as I go through the list here, and I take a look at, we'll say 3-point shooters, for example. Anthony Edwards definitely counts as one. Ja is a decent. De'Aaron Fox might get you 1 to 1.5 a game. Same with Tobias Harris. Embiid's a good 3-point shooter. Zion, not quite so much. Jaren Jackson Jr., when he's healthy, he's going to help out in that category. Same with Jamal Murray. RJ Barrett, Kyle Lowry will do okay. But it does look like we may need a little bit of 3-point shooting help. So there are guys that we can target for that. Jordan Clarkson being one of them, for example. May need another center just to kind of round things off here. Also, we're going to need another shooting guard. So I think Jordan Clarkson might not be a bad one to target. Spencer Dinwiddie would be a good one to target there as well. He's going to certainly help out with the 3-pointers, and he's also going to chip in some assists. Jalen Suggs is a good one to target here too. Actually, that might be one that I'm going to go for. I think he's going to show improvements across the board with his percentages. So he should be a bit of a safer bet there towards the end of the draft. Most people have forgotten about him because he basically fell off the landscape here, fantasy and real NBA wise in Orlando. All right, so we're up at the next pick here. I think Jordan Clarkson's the way we're going to go with this one. Here's going to fill that shooting guard role for us. Here we'll get some points and 3-pointers, which we need. Yeah, I feel pretty good with that. We're going to see where he lands. It's tough to say if he's going to land in a position where he's going to thrive better than he would if he's in Utah. But we'll just have to kind of play that one out there. All right, with my last pick, I'm a little bit torn here. Jalen Suggs is still out there. I'm leaning towards that. Alexei Pokusevski, he's an interesting one. Because Chet Holmgren is out for the year, I think Poku's going to get some additional playing time, some extra counting stats, and he can kind of do a little bit of everything. So, except for shooting percentage, of course, he certainly needs to work on that some more. But I think I'm going to go with Suggs. Just on the base of sheer talent, I like this pick a little bit better. If he happens to take off in Orlando, that is going to do really well for the team. All right, and that concludes the draft. What I like to do here, of course, is take a peek to see how complete we were able to get the team. If we were able to do kind of what I set out to do here. From the onset of the draft. Now, the big thing that I like to do is, of course, we take a look, click on our team here, click on last year's stats to give us kind of an average, and I'm looking for help in certain categories. So we'll start going down the list here. We'll start with 3-pointers made. I would like to have 5 players with at least 2 3-pointers made, and we're pretty good on that. You look at Anthony Edwards, and he's going to be a beast, and he was already at 3 3-pointers made. We might see that push towards 4 this year, based on how things are going. You look at RJ Barrett is at 2. We got Kyle Lowry at 2. Jordan Clarkson's at 2. Triple J is close, but of course he's going to miss a big portion of the year. John Morant is 1.5. So I think we did okay in that area there. Jamal Murray, we'll see what he does when he gets back. Zion's not going to really help in that category too much. But I think on the whole, we did all right with 3-pointers made. For points, we're looking for 5 guys with 20 points or more, and we certainly have that. Ja, De'Aaron Fox, Anthony Edwards, Joel Embiid. Zion's going to push for that. Jamal Murray might even get close to that there. RJ Barrett's already there. So there is a lot of scoring on this team. This team is going to be a pain to deal with on the weekly basis here for points. Rebounds, looking for 8 rebounds per game. We're going to be a little short on that one here. There's not a whole lot of help in this category throughout the team. Tobias Harris is going to help us out a little bit. Joel Embiid, of course, is going to be there. Zion might. Jaren Jackson Jr. is notoriously a poor rebounder, so I don't see that mark changing much off the 5.8. Nick Claxton might get us there if he does happen to get some more minutes. He should be the starting center in Brooklyn this year, so we'll see how that one pans out. But he may be a sneaky source of rebounds here as the season goes on. Assists, looking for 5 assists per game from 5 of our players. Jaws at 6, De'Aaron Fox at 5, Joel Embiid at 4 for a center. That's pretty solid. We got Kyle Lowry at 7. That likely is going to drop. Jalen Suggs we might get towards 5. If we do, then that makes our 5 right there. Steals, looking for at least 1 steal from 5 guys, and we certainly did that again. Anthony Edwards, De'Aaron Fox, Joel Embiid. Zion might be close to that this year. Jamal Murray might be close to that this year. Kyle Lowry might not make 1 this year. We'll see how much playing time he gets during the course of the season. Jordan Clarkson, not known for his defense. Jalen Suggs is going to likely get that this year with some extra playing time there as well. And with blocks, we want to see 1 block per game from 5 guys, and we're probably going to be short on that one there as well. Outside of Claxton and Embiid and Triple J when he gets back, there's not a whole lot of blocks on this squad. Zion's not going to do much for you. I mean, and of course the rest of these guys are going to be, for the most part, guards. Anthony Edwards might creep closer if he is going to be as explosive athletically as everybody says he's going to be here this year. So we shall keep an eye on that here as the season goes on. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with the squad here. Let us know what you think in the comments. Feel free to smash that like button, of course, and subscribe to the channel if you do like this content. We are going to be putting out on a regular basis here fantasy basketball content throughout the year. I'll give you guys updates on the teams and how well we're doing and people to look out for week by week, your waiver wire finds, that kind of stuff. And that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to sign off for now, but we're going to catch you guys on our next episode.